Good morning, children. This is Ramananda. Today I am going to teach 10th class English. That is from 7th unit A reading. My childhood lesson. This is second half of this lesson. Second half. First half it is given to you. Some introduction is given to you, children. Now today I am going to take from the same lesson. Already you have come to know this is autobiography from that what is that the book of Wings of Fire, that it is Wings of Fire. It was written by Abdul Kalam, and from this we are going to know the information of his childhood, what was the position of that country and what was the situation. It was the situation of Second World War it was going on. At the time, tamarind seeds price was increased, and later you see that his brother-in-law, he asked him to collect the bundle of the newspapers at Rameshwaram station, and that from that collecting of the newspaper bundle, he has to distribute in the village, and for this he used to get a little amount, that is, he said first wages he got at the age of very small. That we came to know. Now you see that I am coming to the next paragraph, that is second page of the lesson. Every child, here you see that, children, this is I am going to read now. Every child, you take the first page after second page. This is every child is born with some inherited characteristics. Inherited characteristics means that comes from forefathers, from what you call it, and some ancestral, that it comes that characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment, and trained in certain ways by what you call it figures of authority. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father, from my mother. I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my three brothers and sister. So these people also, they inherited the good characteristics, that are honesty, that is called, and self-discipline. Generally, many people, they think that the children also, they think that what I inherited, if I question it myself and yourself, what will happen then? That children, they like to inherit some property, some bank balance and something like this here. But here he says that as a child, when every child is born, what is it, is born with some characteristics here, and here he is inherited what here? Self-discipline and honesty. He is three brothers and sister also. Next you see that I had three close friends. He had three close friends in his childhood. That names are given to you in my childhood. One name is Ramananda Shastri, second name is Aravindan, and what do you call it, Shiva Prakasham. These are the three friends, and all these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. These people came from Orthodox Brahmin families, very deep devotional people towards that religion. So as children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. As they were growing in those days, there were no differences among this religion and religious people. So they didn't know that. In fact, Ramananda Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri and the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. So he was the high priest of Rameshwaram temple. Who is that? Ramananda Shastri's father, Lakshmana Shastri. He was a high priest of Rameshwaram temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father. So from his father, he took that priesthood, and later Aravindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. So he was going to see that transport facilities for the visiting pilgrims. Pilgrims means what, children? The people those visit the holy places, holy temples, like that. They are called pilgrims. And Shiva Prakasham became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. He became the contractor, Southern Railways. Now next paragraph you see that during the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site. SIT site, situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. So this is Ramatirtha. It was a place and which was near their house at the in those days. What do you call that? At Sri Ramanavami, on the occasion of Sri Ramanavami, that is Sri Sitarama Kalyanam ceremony. It was used to conduct the today's. Now also we are going to see that ceremony. And near our house, even from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet, both religious matter and stories used to listen that were very common at his bedtime. Next paragraph is one day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class, and I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramananda Shastri, who wore the sacred thread. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramananda Shastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. So the new teacher came here and he asked him to go and sit backside because of according to the what you call that society ranks that are caste wise. So that the teacher he preferred to that particular friend who was a Brahmin, and some that is why he asked this Abdul Kalam when he was a boy to go and sit backside. But at the time these are the two friends and that friend he began to weep, he began to cry. Next you see that after school we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshman Shastri summoned the teacher and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal tolerance in the minds of innocent children. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. So after going home, these children they complained, and Ramananda Shastri's father he summoned. That means he called immediately the teacher to attend to be present in front of him, and he was given the warning either to leave the island or to change the mindset of him, not to poison these children's minds. So that it is given there, and he was asked to apologize, to say sorry. That it was a great situation in that days. Next you see that on the whole the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of the segregations of different social groups. However, my science teacher Subramanyam Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He used hours with me and would say like this here, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par, that means equivalent level, on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. So that science teacher, he wanted Abdul Kalam to become a great person in his life. As other people, big people, and in the society, those are high level people. He asked him, you also grow, you also improve, like this he said. Then you come to the next page, children. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. So that it is very traditional kitchen in those days. Brahmin people, they used it to be like that kitchen. So this boy was invited by the teacher to dine, to take the dining, that is what you call it, meals. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Shivasubramanya Iyer was not perturbed, so that do underline, perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife. but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. So he did not get any angry when his wife not ready to offer this meal, but is a teacher. He himself served this boy, and he also sat beside him. He also began to eat. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Shivasubramaniam Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. And observing my hesitation, he told not to get upset, saying like this here: once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confused and confronted. Confronted means faced. When we want to change the society, as the old beliefs like that, when we want to change this, some problems will come. We have to face that problems. Confronted. When I visited his house the next week, Shivasubramaniam Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. That it was a change. So the teacher's wife, she herself she served the meals in the next day. Then the Second World War was over, and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. So Indian people, they are going to build their own nation, Gandhiji declared. And the whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism that it is. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram, and he said like this here. So I asked my father for permission to leave. That means Abdul Kalam, he asked his permission to leave his Rameshwaram place. He wanted to go somewhere. Then you see, he told me as if thinking aloud. And what he said, say that, Abul, I knew you have to go away to grow. And does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? That is he says the good word. His father told like this: a seagull, a bird, it flies across the sun. So he quoted Khalil Gibran's "To my hesitant mother." Hesitant means who is doubtful. And your children are not your children. Khalil Gibran, he told these words statement. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And you may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. That means children, according to their minds, they have to improve their knowledge and their situations, their problems they have to solve. But parents, they should not apply their own thoughts on children. This is not good. Children, they respect their parents, but the parents should not command, they should not demand, they should not guide, and according to their thoughts. Parents' thoughts are different. Children, their thoughts will be different. According to their thoughts, parents have to give the guidelines and they have to encourage that to cooperate with the children. Then only the children, they become good and they will be in a higher position. Because as they wish, if they move, that it will be good and they will be happy. This is the story, children. It is not a story from childhood. APJ Abdul Kalam, he has written this. It is a very interesting information given to you by Abdul Kalam. So once again, I'm going to read out these meanings, and that meanings you see that already in the previous class also I have read that. So children, all of you once again read the lesson very nicely, and questions also you see that. And next B lesson, for the next B lesson, let us see in the next class.